Hello, what I'm going to be going through in this video is another programming example where first we will be writing numbers to a file using Python, and then we're going to write another program that we're going to go ahead and read those numbers from the file and display the total of the numbers in the file. So what we're going to do is we're going to write a program that creates a file with the file name number_list.txt, and we're going to use a loop to write the numbers 1 through 100 to the file, and then we'll go ahead and close the file. In part 2, we're going to write code that reads, that does the following, which is opens the number_list.txt file that was created in part 1, adds all of the numbers read from the file, and displays their total, and then closes the file. So let's go ahead and open up idle, and I will create a new file. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and open up our file that we're going to be writing our data to. So I'm just going to give it a name of output file, and that will equals, and then we call the open command, and then we specify the file name, which is number_list.txt, and then a comma, and then W, which means that we're going to go ahead and write the data. That's the mode, which we're going to be in write mode. So we've specified the name of the file and what mode we're going to be opening up, creating it, and writing to it. So that's our file. Then what the instruction said is we want to write the numbers 1 through 100 to the file. So we can easily do that using a for in loop. So for counter in range. And what we need to do is we're going to specify the range. We're going to start at 1, and we're going to go up to, but not including 101. So this will go through and write the numbers 1 through 100 to the file. So I need to have my colon after that. And then the next thing I need to do is I need to call my write function on my output file. So it would just be output file. .write, and then we'll add in a parenthesis. And what we need to do is we need to write the data as a string out to the file. So what we need to do is we need to create the integers 1 through 100, or need to go ahead and basically change the data type from an integer to a string before we can write the numbers 1 through 100 to the file. So we're going to specify str, and then it'll just be our counter. And then what we're going to do to make it really easy to read the data from the file when we need to read the data, we're going to go ahead and place the new line escape character, and what that'll do is that'll put a number on each line instead of adding them up on the same line. So this will make it really easy to go ahead and parse that file and read it in when we work on part 2. So we will just go ahead and make sure we have the parenthesis around that. That is all the code we need for our for loop, so I'll just go ahead and hit the backspace. And then the next thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and close our output file. If you don't close the file, not all of the information may be written to the actual file on disk. It may appear in memory, but it may not get flushed out to the actual disk file. So what that close does is it makes sure that anything that has been inputted and still as memory is written to the file. So it's very important that you go ahead and close that file. So we will go ahead and just call the close command, and then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to let the user know that the program has inted. So we're just going to print out a statement after we've closed the file that the numbers have been written to it. So the numbers have been written to the file. Okay, so that should be all we need for our program. So what we need to do is we need to go ahead and run it now. So it'll go ahead and ask me, so I will click on OK to save it. And where I'm going to save it is I'm going to save it in my CIS 156 directory. So we will just go ahead and save it out there. And what I'm going to call the file is write numbers. So we'll go ahead and save it, and then the program runs, and then it comes back with the message, the numbers have been written to the file. And basically, when you do not specify, what we did was we just specified the file name when we opened and created the file. So what that does is it actually creates it in your current working directory. So wherever your write numbers.py file was saved in, that's the same directory that the numbers_lists file should appear in. So that's what I'm going to check out next. Let me go into my 156 directory, and I see my numbers_list. And if I go ahead and open the file up, we have the numbers 1 through 100 printed to it. And you can see each one of the numbers appears on a new line since we added that new line escape character. So basically that is part 1 of this assignment. So let me go ahead, and we are going to go ahead and write part number 2. So I will go ahead, create a new file. And what we want to do in this part is we just want to read the numbers from the file and sum those numbers up and print that sum out. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set up a variable that we're going to use to sum up the numbers in. We're just going to set it equal to 0, initialize it to 0. And then the first thing we need then is to go ahead and open up the file. So it'll just be in file, and then the number, we're going to call our open function again, and then we're just going to specify our number _list.txt file. And then we're going to specify the mode, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be reading the contents of the file. So we'll just specify our mode as R. So after we've opened up the file, then what we're going to do is we're going to read the file line by line. So it's just going to be for line in file. And we're going to go ahead. The first thing we need to do is we need to save the value that we're going to read from the file as an int value, so we can go ahead and sum it up, because as we read that information from the file, it'll be using a data type of a string. So we need to use the numbers in a calculation, so that's why we're converting it to an integer. And then we'll just go ahead and add that number to our total. And this will iterate through the file, this for loop. It'll read each number line by line, and it'll add that number to our total. So what we're going to do next, we need to close our file. So that will be done outside of our loop. So I'll just type in file.close. That'll close the file, and then what we want to do is we want to go ahead and display the totals. So, okay, the total of numbers 1 through 100 is, and we will just go ahead and print out our total value. Okay, so On our open command, as long as we go ahead and save our file to the same working directory as where our numbers underscore text file is, then we shall be able to read that file without specifying a file path. So I will just go ahead and save it to my CIS 156 directory, and what I am going to call it is read numbers. So we will just go ahead and click on save. It'll go ahead and run, and the total of numbers 1 through 100 is 50/50. So what we've done in this video is I've just walked through how you can go ahead and write numbers to a file and then read those numbers from a file and do some type of mathematical operation as you're reading those numbers from the file. So that's all I wanted to cover in this video.